He's not real educated yet in the reining career, but he's sure doing a good job of trying hard, and you can see he's going to be a big stopper when he figures it out. Very nice. Very, very nice. Any questions so far on the sliding stop? Any questions about anything we've gone over? I know we've covered a lot of stuff, and I sure hope I didn't confuse anybody, and I hope I educated you guys a little bit on what to watch in a reining pattern. Any questions from anybody? Yes? Yes. Okay, her question was when you run down to do a sliding stop, you start off slow, and at what point do you pick up your speed? Very good question. I like to explain it to my students as far as going first gear, second gear, third gear, fourth gear. Now it depends. If you have a pattern where you have to stop past your center marker, then you always come out of your corner or start out and make that horse wait on you. If you're going to stop by your center marker, you're going to go through those gears a little bit quicker because you've got to get by the center, and you're going to stop a little earlier, okay? While you're schooling and when you're learning, we're going to send you up and down here 20, 30 times, teaching you, not without the stop, just teaching you your strides and when to build. When you do build with your horse, you start out at a lope, in control. What I teach my people to do is, the first thing I want you to do is lean back, then I want you to release your hand. On a horse that might be a little anxious that day, you might not have to send a lot. When they feel that release, they're going to get up and go ahead, go where you need them to. First you lean back, that might be like going into second gear. Third gear you release the hand, and fourth gear you start to drive with your seat. All right? It's not always the same because depending on the day and how that horse is riding, he might be a little nervous that day, he might be a little lazy that day. You might release him and all of a sudden he's not going and you need to get a hold and start driving him, or you might release him and he might go too quick and you need to pull him in the ground. Basically what you want to do is you want that your eye to see a horse gradually build. You don't want to see anything happen abruptly. You want to see it gradually build. So if I was going to see this horse stop by his end marker, that was very nice, I would have her hold that horse coming out of the corner, and I would have her probably be in second gear as she came by the second cone, built to third and then fourth. And it just depends on where you're stopping at that point in the pattern. Did I explain a little bit about, do you understand a little bit? And like I said, every horse is a little different, so there's not just one stamped place, you know. Any other questions? Yes? Mm-hmm. Okay, her question was when she's doing a sliding stop and one foot comes up and then they place it down again or another one comes up, there's a few things to look for. And number one is make sure your horse is shod properly to stop. Make sure that the blacksmith took all the nail heads off the shoes. In other words, the blacksmith put your slide plate on, they put it on with their little nails, then he's got to take a rasp and he's got to rasp those nail heads off. Make sure they're all off. Second thing, make sure your horse's teeth are okay. I'm a fanatic on making sure everything's okay before we pick on these things, okay? Because the first thing it can come from, and usually, is the horse is stiffer on one side of its mouth than the other. If the horse is sound, I'm assuming your horse is sound, okay? A lot of times it'll be stiffer on one side or the other. Like if this horse is stiff on the left side of his face, he's going to stop and he's going to pick up the right back foot. Because when he stops and leans on the left, it's like if you ran down as a kid and you slid and you're leaning on one side, you're going to slide more on one foot than the other. So if he's stiff on the left side of his face, he's going to keep his left back leg in better than his right back leg. Now you could be sliding and he could go pick one up and then put it back down again. That could be where he started sliding and then he shifted his weight back over. Or you've gotten after him enough that he did put it over. A way to fix that, number one, go back to your basics. Make sure if he is soft on both sides of his face and you have all your fundamentals, I think you understand what I'm talking about there. Then what you want to do is, as that horse is building down to his stop, you can feel if they're leaning on the left or the right. Fix it right there. Don't even make that horse do that sliding stop. If the horse does not go down running straight and staying off both sides of his bridle reins, he's not going to have a good stop. Fix it there. And the way to do that is, let's say we're running down on the left lead, and that horse leans to the left. And you feel him start to lean. As soon as you feel him start to lean, pull him in the ground, take it away from him, pull him in the ground, put the left rein on his neck and break him around to the right. A lot of people would think, well, I'm going to pull him in the ground and I'm going to pull the right rein to pull him over to the right, but what happens there is if I pull this right rein, where does his body still go? His body weight still goes to the left. If you pick the left rein up and break him off that rein like this, then you're taking that away from him leaning on that direction. Do you understand that? That's very, very important when you're training a reining horse. Even in their circles, you know, when Karen's horse didn't guide there going the other direction, he was actually leaning on the right rein, running a right circle. So when she tried to guide over, he was braced down on that right rein. So what she had to go then is break him off that right rein a couple times so the next time she touched his neck. And she did it by picking the right rein up and moving the whole horse's body weight to the left. You understand? If the horse always does it well, there could be two things. He could be stiff on that side. He also have his hocks checked. Because a lot of times they'll learn to balance themselves. They'll learn to carry themselves where they're more comfortable. And make sure that he's not uncomfortable on his right hock. Make sure there's nothing over there that doesn't hurt him. Okay, if he is sound, then you need to get him softer on the left side of his face. And his rib cage. Along with the face comes the neck, the belly, the whole 9 yards. All right? Mm-hmm.
When you're going back down, are you penalized in any way? I've read where you're not, if you're on the wrong lane.
Good question, which I did forget. When you come out of a rollback, there is no designated lead on a straight line. You need to be on your correct lead before you make the quarter turn, correct? As long as that horse, you can run down there, come out on left rollback on a right lead, and you're okay. You change the lead by the time you get to the quarter. A lot of people change the lead on a straight line. I teach my people to change the lead in the corner while you're learning because you have a better chance. Sometimes if you're asking on a straight line and you're a little nervous, you don't open that inside leg, you just start spurring them and they're like, go, 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 you know. But no designated lead on a straight line coming out of a rollback, but you've got to have the correct lead at the quarter. Those were really good questions. I'm glad you're here. Because a lot of people want to ask questions and they don't, and those were good questions. And one more, I like it. Okay. Okay, her question was she hasn't started to pull or paddle with the front. Number one, she's not going to until you get her softer, because when she's bracing, she's going to come down on that left side, and she's not, if she does start to paddle, she's still going to be drifting to one side. If she's not breaking loose, you could be pulling too hard, she could be stiff in her chin. You understand what I mean? You might have her bracing too much. So what you want to do is do a lot of backing. You know, when she backs, does she back light? Okay, get that front end up and do a lot of backing and say whoa, whoa, and make her come. See how that horse, like I picked my hands up and he did everything but the back pedal and get off me. Did you see that back end? Like as soon as I picked my hands up, he's ready to, whoa. See, he's just ready to come right back to me. If you can drive that horse forward and then, see, he's coming right back to my hands. You want to be able to walk forward, take him and have him come right back to you. Probably when you do that, she's probably, even if she's back and soft, she's probably bumping that bridle and just bracing for a minute. You fix that doing this. You don't fix that running and stopping. You understand what I mean? For every one of these maneuvers, there's a foundation. And I am a firm believer in a foundation. Before you got to learn to walk before you run. All right? And yes? Her question was, when you're backing up, is there points taken away from not backing straight, not backing fast enough? No. There's points taken away from the maneuver if it's not straight, but there are no penalties. Okay? They would just, what's that? Oh, well, there you go. Yeah. Okay. If he backs crooked and it gets by a quarter, then it would be a penalty. You would be off pattern. Penalty. Because again, your horse is going to be facing a different direction in the pen, which you're not going to be in line with what we talked about before. As far as speed, my answer is allow that horse to back where he's pleasant and pleasant to the judge. If the horse cannot handle backing fast, don't back him fast. If the horse can back fast up, go ahead and show it. This horse is a good backer. I can start backing him, and I could back this horse all day long off no pull whatsoever. I have another little Morgan that it's the hardest thing in the world for him to back up. He's learning it, but I would never go in on the one that couldn't back up and lean back and say, watch this, because he wouldn't know what to do. This horse I can show his back up a little bit. So it just depends on the horse. Okay, does that answer your question a little bit? Yes.
When you are backing in
Yes.
one and first, you get penalized for waving on
Again, anything that, her question was, if you're backing up and you start flapping your legs on them, do you get penalized? Again, anything that's not going to look pleasant to the judge's eye. So in other words, if I'm backing this horse up and I'm just doing a little of this, no, I don't think this is offensive. If I start, that's offensive. Back to that thing we talked about, intimidation. But you'll see a lot of them, they'll kind of, and we'll just kind of, no, that's good, that's a cue. To me, this is a cue. To me, this is intimidation. So you kind of get an idea. I don't want to see, even though we train them a lot to back up, I don't want to see their legs. If your legs are too far forward, that's intimidation. All right, that's intimidation. I don't mind them coming a little bit, but too far forward where that horse just jumps back and goes backwards. Some people think it looks neat. If I see that horse get like real scared look and those feet are real far forward, to me that's intimidation. Understand? Got that? Anybody other questions? Yes. Absolutely. Anytime I have a horse, her question was, do you do any exercises to strengthen their bellies to help them do the maneuvers? Anytime I have a horse that's got a weakness anywhere, I strengthen it before I ever go on with my maneuvers. And it depends on your horse. Like a lot of horses that have long backs sometimes tend to have, you know, they're just like people, you know. I mean, they'll tend to be a little bit bigger in the belly, you know. And you'll do a lot of backing. Backing is real good. Trotting up hills, trotting down hills, all your foundation work. The other thing, too, is when we do these maneuvers, these horses are ridden and fit. I mean, we don't do this once or twice a week. This is 5 to 6 days a week. Not always hard reining maneuvers, but we probably spend more time doing our foundation and our exercises to keep those belly muscles or back muscles. Some horses are stronger in their backs, some are stronger in their bellies. Wherever your weakness is, but backing up and long trotting, those are really good maneuvers for, and rounding them, real good maneuvers for belly muscles. Okay, any other questions? Nope. Yes? Okay, her question was, I knew there was a question during the flying lead changes. Her question is about teaching a horse to do a flying lead change. What are the preliminaries about the starting the flying lead change? Okay, hip control, moving a horse's hip, basic dressage. Okay, being able to have that horse walk, like I'll walk away from you, and I want to be able to take that horse and move his hip. Like this would be for a left lead change. This horse can walk forward and keep his hip in, or if I need to take him to the right, he can take his whip to the right and move his hip over. That's a biggie. That's very important, and you're not to rush this, because the more comfortable a horse can do this with his hips, the better his lead changes are going to be, and it's not to be spurred when you teach him. If it's going to take 6 months, it's going to take 6 months. If it's going to take a year, it's going to take a year. The more time you take teaching them,